The World Cup hosts are accused of a World Cup heist after Donald Trump lent on FIFA to let America's star striker back on the pitch.
All I did, I asked for a review because I didn't think it was a foul. And, you know, again, I'm good at this stuff. I didn't think it was a foul. I thought it was two great athletes that crashed into each other and got entangled.
Donald Trump might not have thought it was a red card, but others see foul play in his tactics, including UEFA. Tonight, the integrity of the tournament is being called into question. Also on News at 10. There might have been a red card for England too last night, but there's no spoiling their celebrations as they make the quarter-finals fair and square. TV takeover. Sky is buying ITV in one of the biggest media deals in history. We'll tell you what it means for your favourite shows.
Many of those in this crowd tell us that they saw the late Ayatollah as much as a father figure, as a political leader, and that is why they have come out millions strong to walk the miles of this parade.
Emma's inside the funeral procession for Ayatollah Khamenei in Iran, where official scenes mask mixed feelings. And
this wildcard who grew up in Wimbledon is through to the quarter-finals.
Another quarter-final to look forward to. Brit Arthur Ferry makes an extraordinary breakthrough at Wimbledon.
This is ITV News at 10 with Paul Brand.
Good evening. Even in a sport where passions are known to run high, the fury that's been unleashed by FIFA's red card suspension tonight seems unmatched. Following a phone call from Donald Trump, the World Cup organisers effectively overturned the punishment given to America's star striker, Folarin Balogun. It means he has been cleared to line up with his US teammates when they take on Belgium for their last 16 clash in the next couple of hours. The Belgians had lodged an appeal that was dismissed today by FIFA. Its boss, Gianni Infantino, himself defended the independence of the sporting authority. But on a day when the integrity of the whole tournament has been called into question, there is disbelief at what appears to be the ultimate trump card.
And here it is in the Oval Office.
Donald Trump has coveted the World Cup, even though his home team might not be favourites to win it. Often accused of bending the rules to his advantage, tonight, in one of the most brazen examples of political meddling in sport, he's admitted calling the head of FIFA to ask for a red card against a US player to be reviewed.
Yeah, I did. I spoke to Johnny, who's highly respected. But all I did, I asked for a review because I didn't think it was a foul. And you want to see a game with your best players. We have our best players, and they have to have their best. And if we win or we lose, it's fair.
Infantino has issued a statement saying, "I did receive a call from President Donald Trump. During our conversation, I explained that there was an ongoing legal process involving FIFA's independent judicial bodies and that the case would be decided in due course by the competent bodies." Body blasting FIFA's decision, saying, "We express our disbelief at such an unprecedented, incomprehensible and unjustifiable decision." The US team has been preparing for tonight's match, waiting for the result of an appeal on Balogun's eligibility by Belgium. Perhaps unsurprisingly, FIFA has ruled Balogun is clear to start.
An application of the rules that seems to be geared more by the political and commercial interests of FIFA than by what the rules themselves determine and impose.
This is your Peace Prize.
In December, FIFA awarded Donald Trump its inaugural Peace Prize. Now, many are wondering if their attempts to pander to the US president may have compromised the entire World Cup.
That is the question tonight, isn't it, Dan? Evening to you. And no sign Trump is trying to hide his intervention, is there? Where do you think, then, this leaves the tournament?
Well, I think it poses some really difficult questions for FIFA. I mean, first of all, you know, does it tarnish America's or the USA's performance in this tournament? What if Balogun scores tonight? Does that mean somehow that their performance will be undermined? I think for many of their competitors it will be. But it also opens potentially a sort of Pandora's box of other countries trying to challenge red cards now, not least of all England after Jarell Quansah's red card last night. The FA apparently is now considering a challenge as well. But fundamentally, this really undermines the bedrock of football, which should be that the referee's decision is final, not the president's.
Indeed, Dan, thank you very much indeed. Well, to a less controversial but nevertheless thrilling match last night, and for those who braved the 1 a.m. then 2 a.m. kickoff, last night's England match delivered a result worth staying up for. Through to the World Cup quarter-finals, Thomas Tuchel's side overcame all the obstacles to secure a 3-2 victory. Never mind they were a man down for much of the second half. Never mind Mexico's highly vocal home crowd. Never mind even the much-discussed altitude test at the fearsome Azteca Stadium. In the end, it was high-level football from a side giving their best performance in years.
A game for the ages, one of England's best. World-class moments and heroism in adversity. Altitude, Mexico in the Azteca, and a deafening 75,000 crowd, all conquered on one memorable night.
Being away from home, all the decisions against us, and we found a way. We found a deep desire from within to get through this game, and yeah, just couldn't be prouder of the boys.
Minute onwards, you know, this is the World Cup. You know, it's going to be roller coasters, and tonight was one of them. So on to the next.
Always wish that the teams had a bit more personality, a bit more bite in these games, and I think we've shown that.
While Mexican fans tried to dance the pain away, their England counterparts were just pinching themselves.
How long was that 20 minutes?
Longest 20 minutes of my life. Cannot believe it. What an absolute game.
How could we do better than that? I wasn't expecting to get to Miami. We're now on our way to Miami.
You'll never see a greater England away game than that.
That was incredible. That was a bucket list venue in a bucket list match with a World Club Classic thrown into measure. It was, you couldn't have scripted that.
Like everyone else, the head coach suffered every possible emotion, but he stood apart from the chaos when it counted.
Thomas Tuchel showed here how he's earned a reputation for superb in-game management. It was a managerial masterclass backed up by some lion-hearted defending.
Home team altitude was a lot of adversity from the start, but it kept coming during the match. It kept coming, and finishing 40-50 minutes with a man down just tells the story what this team is all about. They mean it, and they just refuse to give in. It's absolutely brilliant.
Thunderstorms may have delayed this game for an hour.
Well, inevitably, thoughts now turn to England's next clash in exactly 5 days' time. They'll take on Norway at Saturday's quarter-final. Beat them, and it'll be a date with either Switzerland, Colombia, Egypt or Argentina in the semi-final. Make it to the final, and Tuchel's squad seem most likely to face France or Spain, who beat Portugal tonight. But first, they've got to get past the Golden Boot contender Erling Haaland this weekend, the Leeds-born striker who sent Brazil crashing out yesterday. Well, let's talk to Steve, who's in Mexico City for us tonight. Evening to you, Steve. So, I mean, the question is, how do you rate England's chances, I guess?
Yeah, well, I rate them quite highly. Look, I don't think Norway are a one-man side, but there is one man, and you've mentioned him, who they're going to have to shackle, and that's Erling Haaland. He's in prolific form at the moment, scored 7 goals. As you say, he's leading the race for the Golden Boot alongside Messi and Mbappe. He scored 2 yesterday to knock out Brazil. So he really is an irresistible force. And to think that he could be playing for England, because as you say, he was born in Leeds. I think England, for themselves, will be buoyed by last night's performance, as long as it hasn't taken too much out of them. One little disappointment though, Jordan Henderson won't be able to be called on from now. He's out of the tournament. He suffered a real freak injury last night when going to celebrate with France, jumping over the hoardings, and he's got a nasty wrist injury. That is going to keep him out of the tournament, but we understand he's going to stay around. He's very important in the England squad. He's an old professional. He drives professionalism, and England would do worse if he wasn't there.
OK, Steve, from Mexico City, thank you very much indeed. Back here, after months of talks behind the scenes, there came confirmation today that Sky is buying ITV. The price tag agreed, £1.6 billion. For that, Sky will get ITV's television channels and streaming service. ITV Studios, which makes many of the most watched programmes, is not included in the sale. The deal is one of the biggest in media history.
Radio division mixers, sound mixers, cameramen, directors.
For more than 70 years, ITV has been part of Britain's daily life.
Well, it's nice to see you,
Now it's facing its biggest shake-up in a generation. Under this deal, Sky says it'll be better placed to compete with global streaming giants like YouTube and Netflix.
Sky, believe in better.
This is the opportunity to bring together two of the most iconic brands in media. So the quality of innovation and the quality of premium drama and sporting heritage that Sky brings together with the extraordinary heritage of ITV allows us to create what we like to call a national UK streaming champion.
This deal splits ITV in two. Sky gets the TV channels and ITVX. ITV Studios becomes a standalone company, continuing to make programmes like Love Island and Emmerdale under an initial 5-year agreement with Sky. Sky says it'll honour ITV's public service commitments, including national and regional news, until at least 2034 under the existing licence.
ITV's identity is too strong. It is such a national icon. It is so respected and so valued by so many people. I don't think Sky would have bought ITV if it didn't value that.
All of these guarantees have been secured until 2034. What happens after that?
I think 2034 is a long way away. The commercial PSB licence is extremely valuable. That's why we renewed it in 2024. And I don't think that's going to change. I think it's going to become increasingly valuable over time.
Sky says the programmes ITV viewers love will remain on free-to-view channels, with no current plans to put shows like Corrie or I'm a Celebrity behind a paywall.
This is the nature of the things to come when it comes to the challenges that are facing our broadcasters, the big global competition from these great big businesses, trying to fight for market share and actually making sure that we have got a British broadcaster that's able to compete on a global stage with some of these great big streamers.
The deal still needs government and regulatory approval. If it gets the green light, it'll mark the biggest change to ITV in decades and a new chapter for British broadcasting. Sejal Karia, News at 10.
Not for the first time this year, Iranians have filled the streets of Tehran. Yet this display was in sharp contrast to the anti-government protests seen there in January. Instead, more than 1 million mourners turned out to honour the country's dead supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The cleric was killed in US-Israeli strikes in February. A public holiday helped ensure maximum attendance for today's procession.
The death of the supreme leader was always going to bring his believers to the streets en masse. But the nature of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's death fueled these crowds in number and emotion. The bombardment which killed him and his family members, bringing to this funeral procession a renewed fury towards America, Israel and the wider West.
Revenge is inevitable. Listen me and listen, it's the people. All the people saying you Trump and Netanyahu, you killing.
From the east of Tehran to the west, those loyal to the Islamic Republic walked and mourned their leader. A show of public grief and solidarity, personal for many, but also deeply political. A reminder for enemies and allies alike that despite the challenges, the Islamic Republic remains.
Many of those in this crowd tell us that they saw the late Ayatollah as much as a father figure, as a political leader, and that is why they have come out millions strong to walk the miles of this parade. In terms of what this means for the Islamic Republic, well, it's a great opportunity for a display of state power, a chance for the authorities to predict or project an image of strength, of continuity, of unity at this critical juncture in its near 50-year history.
But many Iranians do not share the ideals of those on these streets. Such scenes mark the continuation of a rule they have 5 times tried to bring to an end. The death of the Ayatollah shows little hope of the changes in society that they sought. For the United States and Israel, though they will never acknowledge it, these scenes expose the shortcomings of their military adventurism. In death, they granted Ali Khamenei martyr status and strengthened the hand of the hardliners who outlived him.
The love of my leader, Ali Khamenei, has brought all these people here, walking under the sun in this heat to mourn him. It's the least we can do.
I'm a 70-year-old Iranian woman. America and Israel attacked my country. They martyred the best human being on earth. They martyred the best of us, the children of Minab. We will stand by Iran for eternity.
For these people, Khamenei's death leaves a vacuum. They are looking for continuity, which in theory is offered by his son and successor, Moshtaba. But for all those on these streets today, he remained notable by his absence. Emma Murphy, News at 10, Tehran.
Here, the Reform UK leader Nigel Farage was already under a parliamentary investigation over a £5 million gift from one mysterious crypto magnate. Now, support given to him by another, a convicted criminal no less, is prompting calls for further scrutiny. The Sunday Times reported George Cottrell funded his staffing, security and accommodation. Mr Farage insists he's done nothing wrong.
With questions swirling over his finances, the Reform leader's been keeping an unusually low profile, replacing press conferences with videos in distant fields, and when he did resurface last week, not enjoying the line of questioning over the money he's received.
No one cares. You care, but no one cares. None of your business. With all due respect, what's it got to do with you?
Nigel Farage headed off to the US over the weekend, meeting the Vice President, but leaving the rest of his party to deal with the controversy.
We're just going to focus on what the public actually care about. Britain's broken, they want real change, and they do not care about the misinformation being put about by Labour and Conservatives.
Nigel Farage is already under investigation over his relationship with this man, crypto billionaire Christopher Harborne, from whom he received a £5 million donation before the last election. The new allegations relate to a long-term Farage ally, George Cottrell, known as Posh George. Cottrell, who has a fraud conviction in the US, is alleged by the Sunday Times to have paid for Farage's social media staff, security and the use of an £8.5 million London house in the same period. Nigel Farage's defence is that these were personal gifts made before he was an MP, calling it in a statement an establishment hit job, saying I've done no wrongdoing and followed the rules. But the Standards Commissioner, already investigating the £5 million donation, has been asked to investigate the Cottrell allegations too.
Well, the rules say that within 12 months, or for the previous 12 months prior to your election, you should disclose any earnings or gifts or donations that you've received. Clearly, the committee have got something here to look at, and there are questions to be answered.
If he was found to have broken the rules, possible sanctions include suspension from the Commons, which could lead to a by-election. These constituents, though, were still backing him.
He's still a good MP. Doesn't bother us.
They're trying to find anything wrong on him, but they won't find frightened of him, that's why. And I don't care if they do, I'd still vote for him.
I've got more things on my mind at the moment than the state of Nigel Farage's finances.
Farage's problems, coinciding with a dip in the polls, have led to some reports he could quit as Reform's leader, but sources close to him tonight strenuously denied that is on his mind. Romilly Weeks, News at 10.
Now, if you ever left it too late to confirm a hotel booking and found, to your horror, no room at the inn, you will know something of the bizarre predicament Prince Harry finds himself in tonight. He arrived alone back in the UK this evening, but an offer of accommodation at Buckingham Palace was, his spokesman says, withdrawn at the last minute. Well, Chris is here to talk to me about all of this one. Chris, seems like the latest sort of awkward episode between Prince Harry and the palace. What do we know about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's between Prince Harry and the palace more, I think, than between Prince Harry and his actual father. He always blames what he calls the men in grey suits in the palace for making everything so difficult. And I suppose it really depends, this scenario, whether you support Harry, you might sort of roll your eyes at why does the palace make things so difficult. If you don't support Harry, you'll be thinking, why does he make such a fuss every time he comes over? But as you say, he's in the UK tonight without Meghan and his children, because that was the plan A, if you like. But when he found out he wasn't getting any security changes, then he decided to leave his wife and children at their holiday home. So there's a lot going on. I mean, also, I should point out that these are pictures of Harry at the High Court back in January. Tomorrow, the judge in that case will come back with a decision. So, by coincidence, but on the same day that Harry is arriving in the UK and making his first public appearance, the judge in that case is going to hand down his decision, and that's him suing the publishers of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. That has complicated things a little bit, because the palace say, look, the king in his constitutional position can't be dragged into your court case, and if you make a statement afterwards and start talking about the establishment or whatever, the king needs to keep you basically out of the palace. So they've given themselves another reason not to let Harry stay. But, you know, you kind of think, father sees son, surely they could find a room for him somewhere. And that's kind of Harry's point.
All right. Chris, more on this tomorrow, no doubt.
Oh, yes.
Thank you very much indeed. Elsewhere, weight loss pills, as opposed to jabs, today became available on private prescription here for the first time. The tablets are taken once a day and are made by the Danish pharmaceutical Novo Nordisk. On a tour of its Copenhagen factory, its boss told Rebecca of the need to...
How would you describe the dawn of weight loss pills?
There's very little understanding that this is a chronic disease. I think the pill is giving them more options. So it's really exciting for us.
There are 16 million adults in the UK living with obesity. How many of those would you eventually like to see benefiting from weight loss medications?
The current numbers are staggering. 16 million people is not to be belittled. That is a ticking bomb. It has to start getting addressed to the doctors and the public at large. By the way, also having this interview with you, echoing our voice louder than we can be heard on our own is really, really...
...in the pipeline in the global race to treat a disease that affects more than 1 billion people worldwide. Rebecca Barry, News at 10, Copenhagen.
Finally, at Wimbledon, the last Brit standing in the singles made his centre court debut tonight. Arthur Ferry, who grew up just 5 minutes down the road from the All England club, entered this year's tournament as a wild card. He is now into the quarter-finals, having beaten former world number 3, Grigor Dimitrov, in a 5-set thriller. He'd never previously won such a match. Could there yet be a fairy tale ending? As it happens, his 24th birthday falls on Sunday, the day of the men's singles final.
He came into this tournament a low-ranking wild card, and into this match, the underdog. Despite the pressure of his opponent's experience and one of the greatest players of the sport watching on, Ferry took the first set.
There it is.
But a win on his centre court debut began to look unlikely when he lost the following 2.
Went for it, missed it.
Just when it seemed a foregone conclusion, though, the Brit broke Grigor Dimitrov. And as is becoming his style, Ferry provided fans with the excitement of a 5th set.
He takes it! Arthur Ferry!
More than 3 hours into play, they could not be separated.
A 10-point tie-break will now be played to decide the match.
Ferry was determined to take it all the way. The players tired, the crowd tense. It came down to this.
And
and the dream is still alive for Arthur Furry.
Even he seemed shocked.
I grew up 5 minutes from here. I grew up coming to watch matches on this court. It's unbelievable.
Ferry goes through to the quarter-final and keeps the last hope of British singles success at Wimbledon alive. Ellie Pitt, News at 10.
It could be a great weekend. And that's it for tonight. Susanna and Ed will be here from 6 o'clock tomorrow with Good Morning Britain. For now, from all the team, good night.